Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the transcript has now been released in the phone conversation between President Trump and President Zelensky. And the evidence is clear, unfortunately, that the Speaker of the House of Representatives has been functionally catfished into a politically fatal impeachment proceeding based on rumors, based on faulty evidence, and based on a bloodlust for the president politically that does not serve our nation well. Let me give you the high points. There is no quid pro quo between President Trump and President Zelensky for anything, much less military aid. There is no 8 times a reference to Joe Biden. I think the Wall Street Journal will have a good deal of retracting to do today. And in fact, President Zelensky himself identifies the rooting out of corruption as the reason for his election. Early on in the conversation between President Trump and President Zelensky says, "We here in the Ukraine are trying to drain the swamp, much in the way you are working to drain the swamp in the United States of America." This wasn't a call about leverage. This wasn't a call about threats. This was a mutually appreciative and mutually laudatory call between two leaders who are trying to clean up some of the garbage in their respective countries that has polluted politics. Now, the president does ask for a favor from President Zelensky, but the favor is on behalf of our nation. The favor we seek is cooperation between the Zelensky government and Attorney General Bill Barr as we work to determine what activities in the Ukraine may have been in any way involved in the 2016, not 2020, but in the 2016 efforts to interfere with the United States election. The president even references CrowdStrike, attempting to get to the bottom of these improper actions, which again may have emanated in the Ukraine, and John Solomon with The Hill has got a great deal of reporting on that very question. Zelensky ran against corruption. And thus it would be only appropriate that in a conversation about that election victory, they would discuss and reference what are obviously mutual goals between the United States and the Ukraine to have the world safer for democracy. Now, the president also mentions Mayor Rudy Giuliani. And let me be clear about this. Mayor Giuliani has every right to go to the Ukraine and try to ascertain whether or not activities in that country were harming his client as a result of the corrupt connections which may have existed between the DNC and some elements in Ukraine. I feel like we've been here before. House Democrats told us it was all about collusion. We had to wait for the Mueller report. Well, when the Mueller report falls flat on collusion, then it's all about obstruction of justice. Until Robert Mueller comes and testifies, and that falls flat, then it's all about abuse of power. Until the Democrats go to court and are unable to make the case in court that there's been an abuse of power. And now, lo and behold, it's all about the Ukraine. Well, you know what? I saw this movie as it related to Russia. I didn't like it very much, and I doubt I'm going to enjoy the cheap Ukrainian knockoff. The Speaker has embraced these concerns, and I fear that her embrace of impeachment does great damage to the House of Representatives, because there may be a time where we have to solemnly exercise our impeachment powers because there is true crime or corruption, and the Speaker's actions have embarrassed the United States Congress, and they harm our entire country. President Zelensky, in this call, indicates that he will conduct an investigation into corruption. It's a promise not only that he made to President Trump, but that he made to his own citizens. And in that promise, President Zelensky says that any investigation will be both open and candid. Open and candid investigations of corruption, of election meddling. I sure would like to see that level of candidness and openness in our House of Representatives, and certainly my greatest hope is that the Attorney General's investigation into the corrupt origins of the efforts to smear the President of the United States will be exposed, and those responsible will go to jail. That is how we restore honor to this House. That is how we solve some of the great and heal some of the great wounds that were inflicted on this body by the Speaker yesterday. Maybe next time the radical left will wait for the facts before engaging in a reflexive, fact-free impeachment. I yield back.